Hello students, we will continue the topic from yesterday's topic, that was sectors of the Indian economy. Let me recall the previous one so that you could come towards the topic today. That was, we were discussing about the sectors of the Indian economy on the basis of activities. I told you there are primary activities, there are secondary activities, there are tertiary activities, and all the three activities are interdependent. Without primary activity, there will be no secondary activity. Without secondary activity, there will be no tertiary activity, and vice versa. All the three activities are interdependent. I told you yesterday, okay? Then one more thing, students, that I told you that in the primary activity, more than 60% people are involved in agriculture. It is their livelihood. But even then, if we compare the GDP, gross domestic production, the contribution of primary sector to the Indian economy, it is less than the tertiary sector, although tertiary sector is not giving employment to more than 60% people. And I also told you, students, that in the tertiary sector, on one hand, there are highly skilled people, Prime Minister, President, engineers, doctors, lawyers, etc. And on the other hand, there are people who hardly earn their livelihood the whole day. There are vegetable vendors, there are cobblers, there are headload workers, etc. So they all form tertiary sector. I also told you that in the tertiary sector, there are certain people who are doing odd jobs. And I told you that odd jobs means for which they are trained, they are not doing that work. For example, if a person is a graduate, but because there is scarcity of jobs, because jobs are very difficult to have in India, so either they are pulling rickshaw or they have joined some educational institution possibly because they want some livelihood. So odd jobs are there. Okay. Now continuing this topic, sectors of the Indian economy on the basis of activities, I must tell you that whether it is a developed country or it is a developing country, in all the countries, primary sector had been always of importance. Primary sector have always been a very important sector, whether it is Britain, whether it is Germany, whether it is Italy, whether it is India. Primary sector was dominant for the last 100 years. Means even the developed countries, they depended on the primary sectors. Because I told you yesterday that primary sector provide base to the other activities, to the other economic sectors. So primary sector was dominant. Gradually in the primary sector, lots of production was there. Many products were produced, commercial crops as well as non-commercial crops. So secondary sector was needed for processing. When primary sector and secondary sector both developed, automatically there was demand for transporters, automatically there was demand for services. So services were provided. So in historical sense, if we compare the three sectors on the basis of history, so one by one, primary sector, I told you, it was dominant not only in the countries like India but also in the developed countries. It was dominant. Primary sector was dominating all the people, the whole economy. Gradually, secondary sector came up because manufacturing sector was needed, because in the primary sector there was surplus production. And when both primary and secondary sectors developed, automatically there was growth of service sector that we call tertiary sector. So, on the basis of the activities, this sector provides a base to the economy, and it is a very important sector as far as the economies of developed as well as developing countries are concerned. I hope this topic is clear to you. Now we switch over to the second topic, sectors of the economy on the basis of the nature of employment. Don't do this mistake. If in the board there is a word activity, you have to write primary, secondary and tertiary because activities are there. When it comes of nature, that is the nature of employment, you have to give the two segments of the Indian economy, organized sector of economy and unorganized sector of economy. Clear? Now, what do we know about organized sector and unorganized sector? Actually, in the board examination, you get how to distinguish between organized and unorganized sectors. Now, on the basis of the nature of employment means employees are employed in a particular sector on which basis? It gives us organized and unorganized sectors. Now, let me give you some common examples through which you will be able to understand this topic. Organized sector. All the activities that are done in the public sector means they are registered with the government, railway, post and telegraph, Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited, etc. These are organized sectors, means they are registered with the government. Jobs are had after much sought. After much sought means easily jobs are not available in organized sector. They have been there after much sought, after much procedures. There are processes and procedures. The person who is getting a job in organized sector has to go through certain processes and procedure, and if the person is not able to fulfill them and does not go up to the mark, then the job cannot be had. Again, in the organized sector, when a person is employed, he get regular salary, he get provident fund, gratuity after retirement, there are leave provided to him, whatever leaves are sanctioned by the government, and medical facilities, housing facilities, and so many other facilities like safe drinking water, canteen facility, etc. They all are provided by the government. So in the organized sector, there are some processes as well as procedures. Understand, students? So these processes and procedures are very, very important to be fulfilled by a candidate, and all the facilities and all the Factory Act, Shop Act, whatever acts have been passed by the Parliament, they are applied on the organized sector. All those laws all the acts that have been sanctioned in the Parliament, they are applied in the organized sector. Is it clear? And let me tell you that in the organized sector, employees are well placed. Means they cannot be turned out of their job easily. They can be away from the job only when they retire. Whatsoever, if in between there is something wrong, that is another case. We don't have to discuss it here. So there is fixed working hour, there is a fixed age for working, and if they work more than the prescribed hour, they get extra salary, they get overtime. Like you can see in the government conducted banks, if people do work extra, means after 5 or 6 o'clock, they get extra money and extra benefits. Okay, so this is organized sector. Now let us discuss the unorganized sector. Just reverse it. Whatever I have told you about the organized sector, just reverse it. Means in the unorganized sector, they are not registered with the government. Means they are privately owned and conducted either by the individual or a group of individuals. And actually they are giving lots of jobs to the people. Before 1990, hardly there were unorganized sectors in India. If we talk of India, because our syllabus is about Indian economy, hardly there were unorganized sector, mostly they were organized sector. Why? Because government considered that in India there is lots of poverty, there is lots of unemployment, and only government can solve this problem. But after 1990, when there was government of Congress, when they adopted globalization, they allowed the private companies. You must have read about MNCs, multinational companies, and the other private companies. They were allowed to come to the Indian market because I told you jobs are had in the organized sector after much sought. Not easy to get jobs in organized sector, and they are limited. So unorganized sectors came up. In fact, there are no processes or procedures. In fact, asal mein, there are no processes or procedures, but listen me, much depends on the whims of the employer. WHIMS, whims means behavior. Let me give you one example. Suppose your father, suppose your grandfather, or suppose the head of the family is running a business. They have so many people working under them. Okay, and your father, your grandfather, they are very good people. They are keeping their employees very safe, very convenient, time to time raising their salary, time to time giving them extra benefits. Whims, behavior, much depends on the whims of the employer. If the employer is not a good person, he will suppress the people, he will not give them proper salary, he will not give them proper wages or whatever they deserve. So in the organized sector, all depends on the government. In the unorganized sector, much depends on the whims of the employer. If employer is good, he or she will look after the people very well. If not, then employees will suffer. In the unorganized sector, people have no fixed job. They can be turned out at any time without any notice. They can be turned out. Even they do not get wages at a particular date. They get it either late or do not get. They do not get any leave facility. If they take any leave, then the wage of that day is not given to them. And there is no facility like housing facility or safe drinking water, etc. A day without work will mean no wages of that day, no gratuity, no pension, no provident fund, etc. Again, I am telling you, much depends on the whims of the employer. You can take the example of your own school. Organized sector, KVs, Kendriya Vidyalayas, they are working in organized sector. Unorganized sector, Guru Tegh Bahadur Public School, it is working under Guru Singh Sabha Committee, etc. So they have their own norms and they follow the norms of CBSE, Central Board of Secondary Education, etc. There are so many private schools, there are so many private shops, there are so many private businesses that are running. So they all will fall in this category, unorganized sector. They will fall in this category where much depends on the whims of the employer. Even in the scarcity, even at the time of need, the employer is paying salary to the people, paying salary to his workers because of the whims of the employer, because the employer is a very good person and he or she wants that their employees should be in a good position. So this is how we call it. In NCERT, students look into NCERT, there is example of Kanta and Kamal. Very good example is given. Kanta is a lady, she is working in organized sector. She goes in the morning, comes in the evening, there is fixed working hours, she is very safe, she is getting salary at the end of every month. She will be having all the facilities of gratuity, pension, etc. and she is well placed. Organized sector. And in your NCERT, in the unorganized sector, there is an example of Kamal. Kamal is a person working in a shop. The day he doesn't go to the shop, the wages are not given to him and there is no leave facility and he is unhappy with his job. So this is how the nature of employment gives us organized and unorganized sectors. Now, one more question on this topic. When unorganized sectors are not paying well to the people, then what is the importance of unorganized sectors? Then why we are having these unorganized sector when there are no processes, when there are no procedures, then what is the need? The need is because organized sectors are very limited. And in the recent days, for the last decade, you must have seen that many people are working in organized sector as unorganized workers. Like in railway, you can see people are there to clean the railway tracks, people are there to as vendors over there. So they are in organized sector, but they are working as unorganized. So we have to give them jobs because India has large population, India has a large territory and we cannot compare ourselves with the European countries where European countries are smaller than Indian states. So here's the problem lies with India. Indian states are bigger than the European countries. So without an organized sector, our economy cannot run. And unorganized sector, including MNCs, they are giving employment to lakhs of millions of people in India today. IT sector, you are knowing, about which we have discussed yesterday also. In the IT sector, it is very heartening to know that more than 35 lakh women are working. So female employment is there. So unorganized sector is very important for us. Private sectors are very important for us, not only for employment, but also they are contributing to the gross domestic production of the country. So in the sectors of the Indian economy, we have so far discussed about the activities, primary, secondary and tertiary activities. Again and again I am telling you, go to the NCERT, Apart from NCERT, don't touch any other book. NCERT is prescribed book and very good book for you. Then we discussed today on the basis of the nature of employment, that what type of employment is provided by the different sectors of the Indian economy. And our third topic will be on the basis of ownership, about which you must have read on the basis of ownership, about which you must have read in your geography syllabus also and other syllabuses also. On the basis of ownership, again, we have so many sectors of the Indian economy. We have privately owned, we have public owned, we have community owned, and we have others. So here, broadly, we divide it into private and public. Broadly, we divide it into private sectors, private ownership, and public ownership. As the word is telling you, private ownership is when an individual or a group of individuals, when they run an enterprise, for example, Reliance, Infosys, etc. These are privately owned companies. Ownership is in the hands of a few rich individuals. And whereas public sector, again, government undertaking, railway, post and telegraph, etc. They comes in public sector ownership, where government takes all the burden of losses or gains. Here, all the burden of losses and gains is had by private or one person or group of individuals. So these are private and public sectors. Okay, go through these topics. Tomorrow again we will recall these topics in brief, and I will also give you certain topics to be done according to the board examination, and we will discuss it further. Further details will be given. Thank you very much, and have a very nice day.